With gold recently reaching an all-time high when adjusted for inflation, many of us feel that it is long overdue for silver and platinum's time to shine. Let's discuss what the prospects are for both of those metals in this video as we explore. If last week is any indication, well, it's likely going to be a pretty good summer for platinum and silver. I say that with the utmost cautious optimism because I know how summers are with precious metals in general. But notwithstanding, I was really taken aback and surprised to see silver already reach my year-end prediction of $36 an ounce, and it's been amazing to see platinum go up well above $1,100 an ounce recently. It's been quite a move for the metals. In fact, platinum is very close to $1,200 an ounce. I'm going to be referencing an article here on Kitco that gives us a little bit of insight as to what has happened over the last week and why we should be very excited about what could be coming for silver and platinum coming soon here. Before we get into that, I want to remind you of channel sponsor Summit Metals. They don't carry any platinum products, but they do have silver, and they have competitive prices, so check them out. And great service, summitmetals.com. So the move with gold, silver, and platinum this past week has been one that has caused the gold to silver ratio to narrow to just above 90. In fact, it is at 92.25 as I record this video, but who knows what it's going to be by the time you watch it. That's how volatile the markets are. In fact, I would not be surprised, honestly, if we saw a correction in overnight trading that leaves silver falling back below 36 and maybe even gold recapturing some of its losses of last week. But I don't think that changes the metrics of what could be coming. Gold continues to receive considerable attention and will, as it remains a critical monetary asset in global financial markets. But the excitement was in silver and platinum this past week. Silver has not been able to hold gains above $36 an ounce before it closed on that on Friday, but it is still on track to see this gain for the week to just above 9%. Silver is trading at its highest level in 13 years. While investors should expect some volatility, analysts say the break above $35 an ounce is significant, and I agree with that it was a critical number, and we've reached it and surpassed it. But I think in reality, even if we fall back below $35 an ounce, we should not lose heart because $34 is critical. And we are there. We have some cushion. We've got some wiggle room with $34 in play, which means that $35 is attainable again. And of course, who knows? Again, it could still be above $36 by the time you watch this video. They note that this is only the third time in history that silver has reached this price level. According to a commodity analyst at TD Securities, the last time silver hit this level was in 2010, and it took only 6 weeks for prices to peak to $50 an ounce. Now, I'm not saying that history is necessarily going to repeat here, but it very well could rhyme. And even if it takes 9 weeks to get to $50, well, that would be amazing if that were to be the case. But remember, $50 now is very different than $50 back then. So many of us feel that there's a whole lot more room for silver to move. Because remember, gold has reached its all-time high on every metric, but silver at $50 is still not at an all-time high when adjusted for inflation. In fact, in reality, it would need to be triple digits, and I talked about that in a prior video very recently, which I'll link to at the end screen of this one. But interest in silver has been growing steadily for about a month, ever since gold hit a record high above $3,500 an ounce, pushing the gold to silver ratio to an 11-year high above 100. Analysts have pointed out that silver has been undervalued compared to gold for several years. That is the mantra. That is the thing that we have to keep in mind and consider. So there is opportunity there for investors as well as those of us who hedge against economic instability with silver. And platinum is even greater undervalued comparatively compared to what it has done. It has far outperformed gold for so long, because many people realize that it's been so long since that's happened, that it almost seems like this is a new normal, where platinum is trading at about a 3-to-1 ratio to gold. So looking back, it makes sense that gold has outperformed silver during times of economic uncertainty and geopolitical chaos, which have driven safe haven demand. And that is true because central banks do not stockpile silver in their reserves like they do gold. Yes, there may be strategic stockpiles of silver, but it is very different, and it is really hard to kind of measure that because central banks do not hold silver. Record central bank demand over the last 3 years has provided solid support for gold as a monetary metal. But silver has been left behind for one simple reason. And as I mentioned, central banks don't buy silver. But investors are finally beginning to see silver as a valuable metal. As an industrial demand continues to drive significant supply deficits. Due to its industrial consumption, silver is actually a better inflation hedge than gold. The growing solar power sector is currently the biggest driver of silver demand, according to the Silver Institute. Nearly 196 tons of silver will be used in photovoltaic solar panels this year. Now, I disagree in part with that analysis. There has been growing demand over the last 5 years, and I think when you look at prices now compared to 5 years ago, you can make that case. But in between that time, it's a much harder argument to make. There's no question about it. But that's why we hold for the long term our metals. And that includes gold, silver, and I think to some extent even platinum as well. The second largest segment in the silver market is jewelry, which is expected to consume 196 tons of the metal. If you're not interested in silver, well, we've got platinum. But there's even less people interested in platinum, but I think it is a metal to watch right now. In fact, I made another purchase of platinum very recently, and you've seen the 1 ounce that I got, but I have another one on the way because I do believe there is some potential there. Now, I probably have too much platinum for my own good, but nonetheless, there's a risk involved with that. Liquidity is obviously a risk with platinum. And like I said, there's just not as much interest in it. But I find it to be a fascinating metal, and I continue to cover it. Why? Because this is the Salivate Metal channel, not the Salivate Silver or the Salivate Gold. I talk about many different metals on this channel and the potential and possibilities and drawbacks to I like to be realistic about every metal. And there's plenty of drawbacks with platinum. I understand that. But I still believe the metal has potential, and I think it's a good idea to diversify, even if you have just a little bit. And the industrial metal is set to end the week. We've seen it up about 12%. And these prices now, we're seeing platinum, at least as I record this video, very close to $1,200. Platinum prices are now trading at a 3-year high and are expecting their biggest rally since July of 2020. And back then, before that big jump, platinum was trading for about $500-$600, and that's when I bought this coin, this 2020 Platinum Eagle here. And like silver, platinum is viewed as a value play driven by strong fundamentals and growing industrial demand, which continues to create supply deficits. Platinum is a critical metal in the automotive sector, which accounts for about 80% of global demand. It's used as in autocatalytic converters, which help reduce harmful emissions from internal combustion engines. And by the way, the ICE, internal combustion engines, aren't going away anytime soon, which means that if you have a hybrid vehicle, well, platinum is going to be used in it. There are a lot more electric vehicles now than ever before, but notwithstanding, not enough to really outpace this metal, which is about 15 times more rare than gold. So there's going to be demand for it, and the supply-demand fundamentals are critical is more with platinum more than any other metal, say for maybe palladium, because of the geopolitical uncertainty and the supply chain situations that can occur with it, mainly being mined in 2 different areas of the world, South Africa and Siberia, Russia. Gold will always be the heavyweight in the monetary arena, no question about that. But silver and platinum, they're stepping into the ring with something to prove. if you're only looking at gold, you might be missing the real action, and I do agree with that. And again, market conditions will be different today, but they could bolster what we're talking about here. But even if they don't, even if there's a pullback in silver and platinum prices by the time you watch this video, last week was certainly seminal and very important to understand that this could happen again, and we could see another run-up for platinum and silver. They've already crossed the Rubicon, folks, and I believe right now I'm more bullish on silver, especially than ever before. And even though I do think that obviously whenever there is a run-up, a quick run-up like that, there's going to be corrections. But again, we're talking about a full week of prices going up. There's something to this, I believe, especially when we see what's going on with the gold to silver ratio, with other factors that are affecting it, with a lot of industrial demand, a lot of military demand for silver, and all the statistics that we've been talking about on this channel for a long enough time. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section below. I hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.